The house beyond the fog. It began with a dare. On the edge of the small town of Hollow Creek, there was a road that no one walked after sunset. The locals called it Fog Hollow Road. Every evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, a thick, unnatural mist would roll in, swallowing the trees, the fences, and even the sound of crickets. At the very end of that road stood a house, old, crooked, and forgotten. Children whispered about it at school. Adults avoided the topic altogether. Some said the house had been abandoned since the 1920s, after the family who lived there vanished without a trace. Others claimed they could still see shadows moving behind the cracked windows, even though no one had lived there for decades. Ethan, a 17-year-old with more curiosity than caution, decided one October night that he would prove the stories wrong. His friends dared him. Spend one night inside the house beyond the fog. He accepted. The arrival. The fog was thicker than he had imagined. It clung to his skin, muffled his footsteps, and made the world feel smaller, as if the road itself was shrinking. By the time he reached the gate, Ethan could barely see the outline of the house. It was larger than he expected, 3 stories, with a roof that sagged like a broken spine. The windows were black, empty sockets staring into the night. The front door hung crookedly, as though it had been forced open many times before. Inside, the air was colder than outside. Dust floated in the beam of his flashlight. The floorboards groaned under his weight. He whispered to himself, half mocking, half afraid. It's just a house. Just wood and nails. But then he heard it. A whisper. Not from outside, not from the wind. From upstairs. The first night. Ethan climbed the staircase, each step louder than the last. The whisper grew clearer, though he could not make out words. It was like someone breathing directly into his ear, though the hallway was empty. He opened the first door. A bedroom. The wallpaper peeled like old skin. A bed frame stood against the wall, its mattress torn open, stuffing spilling out like entrails. On the dresser lay a photograph. Ethan picked it up. It showed a family, a man, a woman, and 2 children. Their faces were blurred, as if the photograph itself had tried to erase them. Suddenly, the whisper stopped. And in the silence, Ethan realized something terrifying. The fog outside had crept into the house. It was seeping through the cracks in the walls, curling around his ankles, rising slowly. The descent. Hours passed. Ethan tried to keep track of time, but his phone had no signal, and the battery drained faster than usual. He lit candles he found in the kitchen, though they smelled faintly of rot. The whispers returned, louder now. Sometimes they sounded like laughter. Sometimes like crying. He explored the basement. The stairs were narrow, the air damp. At the bottom, he found shelves lined with jars. Inside each jar floated something pale, fingers, perhaps, or bones too small to belong to adults. He stumbled back, gagging. His flashlight flickered. And in that moment of darkness, he felt a hand brush against his shoulder. But when the light returned, no one was there. The revelation. By midnight, Ethan was no longer mocking himself. He was praying silently, begging for morning. But the fog outside had grown so thick that even the windows were white. He could not tell if dawn would ever come. In the living room, he found a diary. The leather cover was cracked, the pages yellowed. He read by candlelight. The fog is not weather. It is alive. It comes for us at night, whispering promises, demanding sacrifices. We tried to leave, but the road only led us back. The children are gone now. The fog took them. Soon it will take us too. The last page was smeared with something dark, something that looked too much like blood. The endgame. The whispers became voices. They called his name now. Ethan, Ethan. He ran to the front door, but it would not open. He smashed at the windows, but the fog pressed against them like solid glass. And then he saw them. The family from the photograph. Standing in the hallway. Their faces were pale, their eyes hollow. They reached out to him, not with hands, but with shadows that stretched unnaturally long. Ethan screamed. The fog swallowed his voice. The twist. The next morning, his friends returned to the house, laughing, expecting to find Ethan bragging about his night. But the house was empty. On the dresser, where the photograph had once been, lay a new picture. It showed a family, a man, a woman, 2 children, and Ethan.